Welcome back, Cult Lords fans. We're here to do another movie review. And this review is Werewolf by Night. We are just two humble hunters of monsters that are here gathered for this great hunting. This is the hunter, the Great Dane.
Hello. And this is the hunter, Cleaver himself.
That's right. Vampire hunter Cleaver.
Mm-hmm. He's got a monster problem. Leave it to Cleaver.
That's right. Now, Great Dane, I was just curious, how many kills do you have?
33 and a third.
A third?
Yeah. That third was the toughest one. It's another story. I'm so traumatized I can't talk about it. What about you? What have you done? How many kills?
I've got 38.
38?
Simulated.
Oh! And then how many actual kills?
2, including this one.
Oh!
Yes.
So you're what they call a rookie?
Yes.
A fresh hunter?
I'm a Gorman. So, all right. We are here to do Werewolf by Night. But before we start this movie review, Great Dane.
Yes, Cleaver.
What will we have to drink?
Sazerac rye. Yummy stuff. A nice, one of the better ryes on the market. Have you ever had a Sazerac cocktail?
Oh yeah.
This goes great in it. May I have your glass, Sir Cleaver?
Oh, yes. Let me put
some ice in there while you're icing.
A rock in there.
Probably perfectly good neat too, but definitely this is hunter class sauce.
Ooh.
Hunter class. Hunters need their strength.
To the Bloodstone.
The Bloodstone.
Ulysses S. Bloodstone. I don't know if there's an S in there, but Ulysses Bloodstone.
What did he say? I'll see you later, or I'll catch you. What did he say? He made a pun in there.
Good luck. I'll be rotting for you. Oh, forgive me.
He made a really bad pun. I don't remember what it is.
Yes. So, this is good. This is good. This will put some hair on your chest.
Put some hair on your monster.
Yes. So, Dane.
None of those skinless monsters.
Great Dane.
Yes. Don't forget.
Yes. We got a chance to watch Werewolf by Night, which, as we know, is a Marvel comic. Started in the 70s.
Yeah.
And I actually have probably about 10 copies or 10 issues. I don't know about you.
No, I do not. At least not unless I haven't dug deep into the vault.
So I didn't read the comics as a kid. I've just actually recently purchased this to spec on this movie that came out. So I've got some good
So we'll make
additions.
an appearance in a slab form sometime?
Maybe. So, but in the comic, Jack Russell, interesting, he's named after a dog.
Yes, and
Great Dane.
I know, it's amazing how that happens, but I read something that the guy who created that didn't actually think of it as a dog.
Oh, really?
Completely like nothing to do with a dog, because the background is like the Russelloff family, and they go all the way back, and so he cut it. But everyone's like, what? How did you not see that? It's a dog's name, just a breed.
Yes. So Jack Russell in the comic is cursed. It's a family curse,
right?
Of turning into a werewolf. Which
is it? Lycanthropes.
Lycanthropes.
Yeah.
So and it's part of the Marvel underworld, if you will.
The occult side.
The occult side.
Which is including who else?
Oh well, Blade is part of that. Ghost Rider. Typically in the comics, Doctor Strange is part of it.
Moon Knight.
Moon Knight. You know who they're going to have part of this will be Agatha Harkness. You know who she is?
Okay, yeah.
She's going to be a part of that. So anybody who has anything to deal with like monsters, like there's actually the Living Mummy And then there's a Frankenstein in the comics too.
Right.
So
and what was interesting too about that whole thing is that I guess you mentioned 1970, 71 is the date when it first, but it had made an appearance in some other, what was it, Adams or Atlas comics that Marvel had purchased.
Yeah.
And it was before the official comic book code was in place. Yeah. And so then the code came in place, and it was like no occult things can be in the comics,
so that's the
right?
horror code.
Yeah.
So what happens was when they talk about comics pre-code, there were comics that were graphic in like all the way back in the 40s that were so graphic, that were horrifying. And guess who was the main readers of this? Kids under the age of 18.
Yeah.
So what happened was parents started complaining, this is like really graphic, this is very occultish, very satanic. And then so they came out with a code for comics about how graphic it could be. And then once that happened, it tamed down all the horror comics.
Right.
And
and then in like 1973, they came to an agreement and said, okay, here's the compromise. You guys can do this kind of stuff. And that's when, well, it must have been 70. And then 71 said, oh, you can start your own, Werewolf by Night. And I read the first edition. Yeah. Just online, I could get it. It's interesting, but it's nothing to do with this movie.
Yeah. Well, so now let's cut to the movie, Werewolf by Night. It was set like in a castle, and just what happened was there was a monster hunter that was famous, Ulysses Bloodstone. He had a rock or a stone called the Bloodstone, which helped him hunt down all these monsters. But he is now passed, and he wants to pass this Bloodstone on to the next generation master hunter, if you will.
Right.
So a bunch of people assemble at his kind of...
all the top hunters in the world?
Yes. Out at his...
They're going to have a little soiree, a little shindig, some cocktails, listen to some smooth jazz.
And as the hunters all come in, you learn that the hunters kind of have a code where they don't really normally reveal themselves of who they are.
Oh, yes, right.
But they're doing it for this occasion.
They don't walk in and say, hi, I'm Cleaver, and hi, I'm Great Dane. They don't do that.
So
they admire each other's makeup.
So it's interesting, like who they had there. They had, we see our main star walking in, and it's interesting because you don't know really who he is at first as he's walking in, and he's walking into this great hall, but the hallway is lined with murals of just hunters taking down monsters, and he's looking at it back and forth, and he looks interested, but he also looks a little horrified at the same time, and you don't really understand why. But this is our main character, Jack Russell. He's played by Gael Garcia Bernal, who we've talked about before.
He was an old. Check out our old review.
Yeah,
right
he was
here.
An old. I think he was in that Jon Stewart movie, and he was in some other movies too. But so he comes in, but the other hunters are there, and so you had Jovan. He's the big burly dude.
With like the Scottish accent.
Yes. You had Leorn. He was the Asian guy. Looked more like kind of like
cuts in his hair.
Cuts in his hair. Looked like he was part of the Yakuza or something, you know what I mean? Then you had Azero, who was the waifish, kind of tall, thin woman, kind of looked really weird.
Yeah, right. Except it's actually a guy. It is a woman, but the character is a guy character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was a weird. As I was looking up that too, I'm like, wait, what?
Eugenie?
Yeah.
Eugenie? That's Bondurant? Oh.
So she's obviously a female actress, but the character she's playing is a guy character.
There's Barrasso. He's one of the hunters, and then there was the hostess, Verussa. And
Verussa Bloodstone.
Yes. But also making her way in at the very end is the lovely Laura Donnelly.
Yes.
We've seen her in some other things, but she plays Elsa Bloodstone, the daughter of Ulysses.
The wayward daughter.
Yes. But she didn't like the path that her father was setting, so she took her own path. And Verusa's like, you did nothing. You just were the biggest, greatest disappointment of his life. Right. She's like, yeah, I just didn't want to take the path he took. Mm-hmm. But I've been killing monsters too. You definitely get a sense that she's been busy. Yes. So everybody gathers up and sits down, and Verusa's like, all right, we've got a message from Ulysses himself. And the butler gets out like a crankshaft. A giant. Opens it up. And then... use this as an example. Well, opens it up. And then suddenly it's like you're at Spirit Halloween store. And the animatronics come alive. Oh! Yeah. And like every hunter is looking at it like, what the heck is going on here, man? Is he really alive? Yeah. Yeah. So... that was a cool effect. But this is all just the setup. So the setup was that for a hunter to take... the Bloodstone and become the rightful owner, they had to go out and kill one of the greatest monsters ever. That's going to be put out on the loose. And the Bloodstone was going to be attached to its hide, which would slightly weaken it, but also make it mad. And it's like having a bee in your butt, bee in your bonnet. Oh yeah, Eddie Murphy has a good song about that.
I say sit on down, open your eyes and open up your ears. Say put a tree in your butt, put a bubble bee in your butt.
If you want to get that Bloodstone, you got to kill the monster. Whoever does that, but by the way, everybody's fair game in this.
Those who do not survive will be honored appropriately. For tonight, it is every hunter for themselves.
Basically a fight to the death. And if you get the monster, that's just icing on the cake.
Which, like, I'd be like, that's interesting. You didn't come here to kill or be killed, but, killing monsters is one thing. Killing other hunters, that's a whole other thing. But, you get special powers when you get this Bloodstone, and they all wanted it. Yes. So, well... greed to the death. So the hunter takes out the Bloodstone, shows everybody, takes it out to attach it to the monster. And then you hear in the distance, like right as they're putting it on, right? And then you hear the and everybody can hear this. And then so they're like, all right, everybody to attend this was sent an amulet, right? And so, which we'll have to talk about this in a little bit. But everybody was sent an amulet, except Elsa didn't have one. Right. So all the hunters are like, crashing the party. Yeah, I know. She's crashing, and they're like, she didn't have an amulet. And then, even though Verusa does not like Elsa too much, she's like, she has every right to be here, being a Bloodstone. Right. So they all put their amulets into like don't drive home. A fishbowl. The keys. Right, the keys. Put your keys in the fishbowl. Put your keys in the fishbowl. And then they all draw lots. And I guess... guess who goes first? Jack Russell. Jack Russell himself. Yep. So Jack Russell goes out. And what you see is like a maze courtyard, right? Yeah, that was a cool... like everything looked like these cement... yeah. Like labyrinth pieces. It wasn't like... it wasn't like bushes, hedges cut into a maze. Right. It was like a true, there's like buildings and there's mausoleums in it. Right, and I can't believe they built that set just for that. I'm wondering if that was something else that they took pieces from and then built it up, because it looked substantial. Yeah, but I think that could also be CGI. And then when you put it in black and white, you can really make it look like whatever you want. And I guess if once in a while they touch something, it's like, okay, that's solid, but you're right. So it can all be faked. Yeah. So they go out looking for it, man, and it was pretty exciting. Like what was going on? Scary music. Scary music. Got the little violins playing there. Yeah, and it was off of an old gramophone, right, or something. And let's talk about that for a second. They really went out of their way to pull back all the creepiness and scary noises and all the sounds from those classic Hollywood horror movies. Well, I mean, we didn't talk about the opening, but when it goes through the Marvel credits, every time you would see some Marvel, it'd be like whoosh, like finger, like claw marks would go whoosh, 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 right?
And then the Werewolf by Night, the title was like raised like a really old Hollywood title.
And then you saw these lightning bolts go bzzz over it, and they took that from the original Frankenstein.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. So
clever.
Very clever. I mean, in everything they were playing off of every horror trope from like the 40s. You know what I mean? Right. It's in black and white. They're making it look like it's got crackles and pops in the film. They're doing the fake Q, real Q in the corners. You know how like in the old reels? They made it look like there was a film being switched or something. Yeah. Yeah, there's a little bit of a crackle in the reel. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of like when Tarantino did in Grindhouse. I mean, it's like he really pulled you into that time frame. All right.
So
I mean, we love Grindhouse because it harkens back to a different day of movies. The exploitation movies, the cheap movies that you would see not on the main cinemas. And that's what Werewolf by Night is trying to emulate here. So, but yeah, it was interesting as all the hunters kept coming up against Jack Russell. He fights Jovan at first. He actually runs into Elsa Bloodstone, and he's like, why don't we just agree to go our own separate ways?
Right. And then she runs into the guy, the Asian, I don't remember what his name is, but he has the hand dart thing. Yeah. He puts his hand out there like he's...
How stupid, right?
I know, it's like, really? You're just going to stick your hand out?
I'm going to stick my crossbow hand, pew, pew, pew. He's shooting his little...
And she met Jovan first, because she had his blade. And
takes off the arm, then shoots using his own arm, shoots the crossbow up through his like neck into his mouth.
And then holds him there.
Because Jovan comes in looking for the axe.
Right.
So, and then you find Gael Garcia or Jack Russell. He's off by himself, and you heard a big ooh kind of growl in the background. And he's like put his head back up against some shrubs, right? And then you see this big, and he's like, "Oh, hey, buddy."
He's like, "Oh,
hey, buddy."
Hey. So, what was the monster's name? What do you call him?
Ted.
Yeah. Because his full name is Dr. Theodore Salas.
Yes.
Nicknamed Ted.
And
you're like, so he's buddies with this guy.
So here's the thing. I want to know if you caught this. I did not know that Jack Russell, because I didn't read the comics, so I did not know that Jack Russell was going to be the werewolf until that very moment. When I saw that he was friends with Man-Thing, the creature back there, I was like, oh, takes a creature to befriend a creature, I bet. He's going to be the werewolf, right?
Well, I mean, but they did a really good job of not explaining exactly what was going on. Right. Because, again, I mean, we had this conversation earlier. I thought this was one of like 8 shows. I didn't realize this was all going to be self-contained.
So we were going to do this review beforehand, and he's like, so what are we going to do for every episode? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
He's like, huh?
Yeah. And he goes, well, as more episodes come out, I go, there is no more episodes. This was a one-time deal. It was tagged as a Halloween special. Just like when Charlie Brown came on every year.
I got 5 pieces of candy. I got a chocolate bar. I got a quarter. I got a rock.
Right?
Maybe next year they'll come out with the next one in the series. Maybe that's how they'll trick you.
Have another Halloween special next year.
Or Simpsons.
Here's Johnny.
I don't know. So this was a Halloween special, one-time movie, 55 minutes. And I loved the fact that we didn't have to sit through a series, and it wasn't a very long movie. I like the fact that it was a short, quick story. So
I mean, they did a great job with the storyline, and they wrapped things up. And I'm not going to jump to the end, but I wasn't sure exactly where the werewolf thing was going to go, but then when he was buddies with him, even then you weren't 100%
That's when I knew he's the werewolf.
I mean, I had a good feeling that it was
Right.
going that direction, but it wasn't until he gets thrown in the cage with the
Right.
girl that you're like, all right.
Yeah.
Because they kind of implied that that woman was pretty hot to trot with all her skills.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe there was something going on there, you know, but
Maybe.
I agree with you. Monster, it takes a monster to love a monster.
Yeah. So he's like, hey, buddy, I'll get you out of here, Ted. He goes, now here's the thing that didn't make sense. He goes, you see this? Supposedly this blows up. You know, I'm going to use this to get us out of there. How do I activate it again? He didn't know how to use his own explosive, right?
No, it was one of the, I think it was Jovan's explosive. It was one of the
was
other,
it?
Yeah, he got it from one of the other people.
That would make sense then, because I didn't catch that.
But
I thought he brought...
He did seem like a little bit of a simpleton.
Yeah.
In the sense that wait, you're a hunter and you don't know how, like,
Yeah.
common things work?
In fact, as everybody named off their kills, I think the most was 38 until they got to him, and he was like 100, over 100. And everybody looked at him like, over 100? Yeah.
And they were asking him, like, do you remember these monsters on the wall? He's like, oh, I remember. Do you kill any of these? And
So he pointed to the one that was a true vampire.
But him I fought a few times. He's never looked so alive.
I'm thinking he's kind of referencing Dracula. I don't know.
yeah, well, then that is the backstory with
Yeah.
that whole character. Is the curse came from, unfortunately, it's a really lengthy, you got to give it to Stan Lee and the other writers. They wrote this, like, 3-page backstory on this guy, and it is going back to, they got cursed from, like, they were fighting the original Dracula and all this, the family. And then, I don't know all the different specifics, but somebody's, like, wife got caught by Dracula, and then they went over to get him, and then they got cursed by somebody that was mixed in the bunch, and so it was a long, drawn-out story that's not worth going into. But anyways, but that's the reference they're making there, is that,
Elsa comes, sees that...
well, he's got the bloodstone now, because it's in the guy's butt.
well, no,
Ted's
it's on his
butt.
back. It's on his
Oh,
back.
well, yeah, I don't know.
But what happens, he's like, I can't remember, like, if she comes and sees him with the monster,
Well,
I think so. I
and
think
we
she
should
does.
also remember the monster is the one who killed, well, I don't know if he killed him, but Jovan, remember
Yeah.
he did some kind
Yeah,
of
he
weird
did
electrical-
kill him, because I'm trying to think if she saw him with the monster, because they end up together in a mausoleum.
If you help me get the monster out of here alive, I can get you the stone.
Right.
And she's like, why not? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So
I know
then-
how to get out of here.
Yeah, so to get out of the crypt, she gets the keys by knocking into a crypt. But there was also another tool that she took from there. She goes, oh, this will be handy. It ends up being the tool that she throws on the man thing and pulls the bloodstone off.
Oh, yeah, right.
So she tells him exactly where to go. She says, put it at this wall. There's a crack at the bottom. Put the explosive there. So that's where they get to that. Once that boom goes off, then you see Leorn's dead. You see Barrasso running. You see Azrael running, all top speed to go see, because they know the monster's there. And everybody gets there, including Verussa. She gets there all at the same time just to see that the monster is off, goes into the woods. And then the bloodstone is just on the ground, right? So Jack Russell,
Oh, he goes to touch it.
like,
right?
ridiculously goes over to grab it. Like I would have said to Elsa, it's yours.
Yeah.
Grab it. He goes over to grab it, and as soon as he touches it, he's on the ground in pain.
Right.
And everybody sees that, and they know he's got to be a monster.
He's a monster.
Yes.
But we don't know what monster. That was the big trick.
Well,
they didn't know what it was until
They didn't know what it
Yes,
was. We knew what it was. So they take him captive, and Verussa puts him in a cage along with Elsa, because Elsa helped, right? And, I thought it was funny, like, he knows what's going to happen. He goes, first of all, he goes, oh, we got 5 days till the next full moon comes
no
out.
biggie.
No biggie. We can figure this out, how to get out of here. Then Verussa's going to come over with the bloodstone. He realizes what's about to happen. So he goes over to Elsa, and he's like sniffing her. He's sniffing her hair. And she's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He goes, I gotta remember you, right? So
Started doing that one at a bar.
yeah, I gotta remember you. So
911.
But they hit him with a bloodstone,
Some people would say that.
which activates his superpower, which is he starts turning into a werewolf right there.
Yeah, that was a pretty powerful scene because what's her name, Verussa is like, doing like almost like a countdown the way she does the ritual she's doing, and then she's like, brah. And it was a cool effect because it being black and white, it looked extra lightning bolt horror from 1940s.
Right. And she had like a mask on originally.
Well,
you see that?
I thought she just. Oh yeah, that's right.
It was like a gold looking mask.
They all came in with masks, so it started looking a little eyes wide shutish there.
Well, I was thinking one kind of looked like a gold Dr. Doom, kind of.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
That's true.
So which was interesting.
Yeah.
But
they probably did a hint.
Yeah. So she comes in and hits him. And by the way, it was interesting with the bloodstone. Everything's in black and white, but the bloodstone was red.
Yeah, the whole
Did you
time.
notice that the whole time?
Yeah.
So she's hitting him. He turns into the werewolf. Now it looks like he's going to turn on Elsa, right? Mm-hmm. But what he does is he jumps out and busts through the cage.
Well, he pulls that one woman really close. Which
yeah.
And she's like, ah!
Yeah, he kills her, right?
Well...
Did he kill her? Yeah,
so she's knocked out.
He jumps out, and
I know, he somehow bends the bars at the top of this cage.
Yeah.
And then takes on everybody.
He takes on everybody. He's fighting the other two hunters.
Yeah. All the guards with their electric shocks. The stormtroopers.
Yeah.
There was an implication that the wolf guy was going to kill everybody.
Right.
Right? And so, because they didn't know.
Yeah.
And then so she's down that long hallway, and then the door shuts on her, right? She can't get out.
Yeah.
And then Verussa comes in, and
Elsa then gets the bloodstone. Mm-hmm. And, and then the werewolf just like runs outside, right? And so you kind of think that's it.
Right.
But there is an end scene to it.
Well, didn't the man thing help him out? He comes back. Yeah, he comes back and he crushes the woman.
Yeah.
That's right. He comes in and he just kills Verussa, saves Jack Russell, and because he was weakened because of the stone, right?
Yeah, he comes in and saves the day. That is what happens, yes. And then they go running out.
Right.
And then
and he's knocked out basically.
Yeah.
He wakes up the next day.
And they're sitting around a little fire. Cooking breakfast.
He's getting breakfast. He's like, oh, not yet. He's got a French press. Yeah. French coffee press. Yeah. And he's like, oh, here you go. Yeah. Like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, these are the most civilized monsters we've ever met.
1 over 2.
Yes. He's like, would you like those over easy or something like that?
So, they just, have it out, hug it out. Happy as can be. And there you have your end to it, right?
Right. But there was a piece where the color all of a sudden starts showing up.
The color starts, coming together.
Mm-hmm. And didn't they play the same song from Wizard of Oz?
Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Right?
They did play that at the end when the color comes back. So that's why I kind of thought, well, it was a nice wrap up to the story, but I thought, well, this is a way to kick this off into the next story. If they're on the run now, but they're buddies.
Right. No, so this is a one-time movie. So what did you think about this?
Oh, I thought they did a great job.
It was fun.
Outstanding. It was fun. You didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, obviously, you knew somebody was going to be the werewolf, but you never knew who it was really until obviously.
And Disney dropped this on the public. So when I don't believe, did they announce this at D23? Maybe that's where the trailer came.
Yeah, because that's when we tried to review it at that time. Yeah.
But it was never on one of the Marvel roadmaps of phase 3, phase 4, phase 5. It was never on that, and I don't think it was. I don't remember it. But I know it came to everybody by surprise that this was coming out. And it was meant just to be a one-time, one-off Halloween special, but it's going to set up future stories for the occultish world, if you will, of
tying them all together.
Because
there's some other characters that are still haven't made an appearance yet, right? I mean, you got Moon Knight and things we've talked about.
Well, Moon Knight's obviously had a show. But I don't know if you heard this, but just this week, Marvel delayed some movies, including Blade.
No?
They pushed it off. In fact, Blade was in like pre-production where they were getting ready to film, and then they pushed it off like by 6 months or something like that. And now it's not coming out until like November 2024.
No, 2 years away. Almost.
I know.
Oh, wow.
So I was like,
Blade 1976.
That's the one that I'm like looking forward to the most. And I was so pissed that they pushed it off. So.
Yeah. Well, maybe they realized they had a quality issue, and they were like, no, let's take it back. We got to redo this.
Yep.
There's too many J.R. Cleavers in the world that will be very mad.
I tell you what, for just a tenth of the money, you can make Cleaver. You know, we'll come out with Cleaver before we come out with Blade.
That's right. It'll be, leave it to Cleaver.
Leave it to Cleaver.
That'll be your phrase. Yeah, the monster's coming out, and you're like, what? Vampires?
Like,
leave it to Cleaver.
I'll slay the vampire, and then they'll do a close-up on my face, and I'll be like, leave it to Cleaver.
Snakes on a plane?
Yeah. So,
monsters on a plane?
So, I tell you what, Cult Lords fans, first of all, we want to ask that you subscribe to us.
What are you waiting for?
It doesn't cost any money. We come out with trailer reactions every day, so you get that. We come out with movie reviews every couple of weeks, so you get that. We come out with House of Dragon reviews every week, so you get that. We're coming out with a 5-part zombie series, so you're going to get that. Then we're going to do some stuff about some music. Then you're going to get that. There's a lot of things you get for your subscription. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Subscribe, hit the like, leave us a comment what you thought about Werewolf at Night or Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
Were you excited to see it? Did you like it? Did you like how they went with trying to make it kind of a period piece with all the ambient stuff going on, the black and white, the music, the snap, crackle, pop of the film? Did you like that?
They avoided the blood.
Yeah, well, they did a little bit. I mean, like, when Man-Thing kills people, it's like it's an electrical shock.
Right.
No
almost
blood,
like
no gore,
yeah. Well, the only time there was any kind of serious when she chops off the guy's hand, I'm like,
but I was like,
ooh, where are they going with this?
You know, George Lucas beheaded and chopped off hands like 10 times in the prequels, right? You know.
Oh, yeah, right.
So chopping off a limb doesn't seem to be too.
Well, if you can hide the blood.
Yeah.
Those lightsabers.
Yeah, there was no blood noticed to that hand.
Right.
It was just a hand laying there.
Like if it was Monty Python or a Peckinpah, it would have been like spurt, spurt.
So yeah, tell us what you think. We want to hear that. And Dane, guess what?
What?
Got a little secret for you.
Great Dane. Yes.
Great Dane.
Yes, Cleaver.
Well, everybody was focused on the man thing. Shaking his man thing out there. I got the bloodstone.
What? You got it?
We have the bloodstone. Here, I'll share it with you.
Oh, thank you very much.
What's... Oh my God!